This is We Are What We Overcome. What you're about to hear are the ramblings and reflections of three ordinary people, drawing on their own personal and occasionally professional experiences. These conversations are unprepared, subjective, and should not be taken as medical advice or instruction. Anyone seeking help should always carry out their own research, or better yet, speak to a professional about their circumstances.
So we're all comfortable with the subject matter?
We're talking about Christmas, right?
Yeah.
New Year's.
And we're talking about the fact that the next day it seems to be a new year.
Everything is different tomorrow.
Yeah.
And is that ever really
We
true?
may well tangent onto other New Year's related things.
Hard to imagine.
The only surprise would be that we wouldn't tangent.
We Are What We Overcome on this occasion features musician Matt McGuinness, improviser Nick Tyler, and psychotherapist Wes Evans. Sit back, enjoy, and remember, it's good to talk.
Okay, well, welcome everyone back for another episode. We are actually at the Derby Arena, or the Velodrome, I'm told, depending on what the event is. We're behind the scenes at a panto that's going on. It's that time of year. And we're getting together to talk a bit more about the festive season and more specifically the new year ahead. So, should we go around and do a bit of introductions and check-ins?
Let's.
I'm Wes, away from my local area, and I'm joined by the lovely chaps.
So I'm just watching Matt distracted by a cherry picker, which is amusing me enormously as they adjust lights in this huge cavernous space. It's very cool.
It's quite a spectacle, isn't it?
It is. It's really great. I've deliberately turned away from it because I know that I won't be able to not look at things because I'm easily distracted by these things. I'm in quite a good mood. I am quite chipper currently. Our building works are almost over, which have been the bane of our last 6 months of our existence. And with that, an awful lot of stress and just general weariness appears to have fallen away. And we've moved our metric ton of stuff back into our house, which has left my body entirely broken. But all the things that I love but can't quite remember are near me, and that makes me feel much happier.
You must be feeling really at home now. This is not too distant from like a construction site.
No, this is exactly like being at home. What I need to add to it is someone screaming at his apprentices about being wholly inept on the job that they're doing in my house. Being really reassuring, that's what I want to feel. But yeah, I'm basically sound. How about you, Mr. Matt?
I'm fascinated. I wonder if they ever pick cherries with it. That would be better, wouldn't it? I think every day I would just have to have a...
That's a real Christmas cracker kind of style pun joke, that
It really is. If you were closer, that would
But
be a
actually,
punch in the arm.
if you knew the history of them, you'd know that's where it came from.
Really?
No, I've no idea.
I was thinking that sounds like a lot of utter codswallop without swearing.
But it's good to be here, isn't it?
It is.
It's weird because we're like behind the scenes, but we're not behind the scenes. We're in the main seating.
Exactly, yeah. I was going to say backstage when we did the introduction, but I thought that's not the right term. We're not backstage. We're in front of the stage.
Yeah.
We're in the audience.
Yeah, but it's before that it starts, obviously, and they're setting up. So there's a cherry picker going up to the light rigs. It's stuff everywhere, props, big things that will secretly make a part of the show, which we're not going to name, but...
Are you trying to come up with an analogy for our topic today? So we're talking about New Year's resolutions and being a new year and it not really being a new year. We could start talking about that in terms of where we are now. Is that where you?
I wasn't, but yeah, let's
This
go with
feels
that.
like a metaphor for preparing for Christmas in a very literal way.
Yeah.
How are you, Matt?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good actually. I'm a bit tired. I've been working quite a bit, but looking forward to a bit of a break, and I'm quite looking forward to a new year, and new things, and that clock that ticks over. So one moment it's all the current old dirty year, and then the next day it's the new dirty year.
Hashtag New Year, New Me.
Yeah. Have you got resolutions?
No, not really. I don't have a specific New Year's resolution, which I guess is what we're going to talk a little bit about, isn't it? This idea of suddenly the new year being this new thing.
Yes. How are you, Wes?
But yeah, I'm good. Obviously driven down here today. Quite a smooth drive. This is totally not the setting that I expected we were going to be in, if I'm honest. We were talking about it before we came in, weren't we? Where actually are we doing? It has something to do with the panto. But yeah, this is not what I expected, so this is pretty cool. But yeah, generally good.
So you're not a fan of New Year's? Are you a fan of? You're not a fan of Nick, are you? There's no way you're a fan of resolutions.
I'm not a fan of any festive or positive celebrations.
Are you a fan of
I think
anything?
we were saying this previously. I think I hate all things, don't I?
Have you got a resolution not to have a resolution?
No. My resolution is not to even not have a resolution.
There's too many nuts in that. My brain just scrambled. I don't know whether it's a double negative or a positive or what.
I'm too old to like purposefully change. I can accept change that happens like accidentally that I don't plan on and don't notice. That's all fine. But to intend to change something, nah, that's not me. It's too late. I'm stuck.
This phenomenon, though, of like, okay, so it's the new year. Let's change this and change that, all for the better and all for the good. It must have crept in over kind of centuries, decades, kind of a thing. Everybody works to it now, don't they? You know, like businesses, New Year launches, and new strategy for the year ahead, all this kind of stuff.
I think it's weird because it comes straight after Christmas, which is also most of those things. So it's like we've got two chances to reinvent and recapture some happy part of our lives that, it's sort of semi-fictional. Yeah, Christmas is about trying to relive some happy moment in the past. I think you remember those childhood Christmases where everything seemed to be cool because you don't properly remember it, but you got Megatron or whatever, and attempting to redo that again. Whereas New Year is trying to capture a future that you hope will be like the best bits of the past. I find those two close together quite weird.
Well, Christmas is like a bit of a wrap-up, isn't it? It's like, okay, let's finish on a high, finish on a bang.
Is that good? That was not intended. The wrap-up.
Yeah, did you like that? Yeah.
That's very good.
A wrap-up and then an unwrapping.
I got that, unlike your fine parking earlier.
You didn't. Now we have to say it. I was just telling Nick that I got some. We were talking about the car park and whether it charged or not. And I said I actually got some feedback on my parking recently. He said, "Oh, did you?" I said, "Yeah, they left a little note saying parking fine." You got it, yeah. Nick went along with it and said, "Oh, that's great. That's good that they gave you some good feedback."
I was unusually and uncharacteristically positive about something. It turns out it's because I didn't understand the simple.
I had to check.
See what happens.
Yeah, you did actually. I was really confused.
There'll be people listening going, "What does he mean? Did he not get feedback? I'm not sure."
No, they think Nick's an idiot, which is fine.
The other thing about the new year is it's become a bit of a natural time to reflect and look back, hasn't it? So, like, whilst we don't do resolutions, do you do that?
I think it's only natural, isn't it? You got. It's also time off, isn't it? So you've actually got time to.
So there is that space for most people.
And alcohol generally, so you get alcohol, time off, reflection.
Do you reflect when you're a few whiskies deep? And if you do, I guess you don't just do that at the new year.
He's gone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I just think. I mean, I quite look forward to the fact of actually having time where people aren't expecting you to do anything. Which, again, we were saying it before, wasn't it? That's the time of year when you can, legitimately have time off without anyone saying, "Why aren't you working?" And I guess then that's the time to really reflect on it. And I think it is. I know we slag it off a bit, but I think it is not the resolution thing because I think that is a bit naff, isn't it? But actually thinking about the coming year, it's quite a good time to. And you're in a relaxed place, aren't you? Generally, you hopefully with your family and and there's not a great deal to do other than eat some food and whatever you're lucky enough.
We've come from a year that's been very different, though. I guess we've already had lots of space and irregularity and
Time
alcohol and
That's plenty of
and
that.
family. So is this going to change this new year? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not very good at the reflection part of it. I don't. As we just a minute ago, I don't have a very strong autobiographical memory. I don't really remember what I've done. For a while, I used to keep a diary to sort of keep track of that, and that kept me rooted for a while. But I kind of gave that up because it was just too wearing. Plus, it was like the early days of 2020, where it's like, is this worth documenting? Probably not. Let's skip it. Let's skip the whole thing. So I feel like a kind of a blur for the entire year. So I'm not sure my reflection on it will be particularly pertinent. I guess some stuff happened. Yeah, I like having a job in which I have like a material object at the end in the form of an actual book. That's helpful.
Because that's a reminder of what we've been doing for all of this
exactly.
time.
So, wow, that took months to sort out. Cool.
Yeah, and here's the end result.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I don't think I have many things that are like that. I do a lot of improv and we've done some cool stuff. We've done some lovely show at Nottingham Playhouse. I'm not sure I can remember what happened in that, other than like the general sense of, oh, this is good.
I guess you were just in it and doing it and living it. Yeah.
I think I live a lot of my life in the being in the moment and doing it. So I find the reflection quite hard because I can't remember. Maybe I should just ask other people. How did my year go? And maybe they can tell me.
Ah, it's a great Christmas present for you next year. I could go around filming people, couldn't we?
Oh my goodness!
Nick's
Get him
highlight
like-
of the
or
year.
just get him like a journal or something.
I won't fill it in. Let's go in
That's
a box.
true. It's a
Everything's in
nice
boxes.
idea, yeah.
I love the idea of other people doing it and then
We
just
could
going,
fill it in
who's,
for them.
I like the video, like, who's Nick? Like, who? And just get a 5-minute video of people who can't remember who I am.
Oh,
Ooh.
that was nicely
Musical
timed.
interlude from Wolf FM.
The other thing,
I also think the other thing that depends as well with the unmentionable. It depends what happens over the next few weeks, isn't it? You know, where it'll give you a completely different reflection on the new year.
that's true.
Well, yeah, because it's what we tend to remember anyway. It's the most recent good or bad thing that's happened to us. So I suspect a lot of the time when we reflect on the year, it's like, did something very good happen very recently? In which case you're like, yeah, all pumped up. And if it's something very bad, then you remember the bad thing. I don't know how good we really are at averaging out like an entire year's worth of events. Some of which were great, others were not so.
I think that it's all attached to like Christmas time and things like that. Usually, if it's been bad, people are like, wait, this is our chance to kind of blow off steam and leave it all behind.
Get wasted.
Or if it's been good, like, what a year it's been kind of thing. I was thinking a minute ago, if we zoomed out of it being Christmas and New Year, I would guess that lots of different kind of cultures and societies of the past and all of that have had some kind of closing down of one chapter and opening up of another chapter. And essentially that's all this is, isn't it? It's like
It's usually a seasonal
one
thing, isn't
chunk
it?
finishes, another chunk starts, depending on which calendar or timing system
it's
you
arbitrary
use.
now, is it? Because
Yeah.
we're months out, through the various calendar changes. Because this should be the end of winter
Yeah.
rather than the first month of winter.
So really all it is closing one thing down and starting up another, isn't it?
Well, I think because it's not supported by the weather around us. Normally this would be going back into spring, everything's coming back to life. That would make sense. But because it's not, what we're doing is you're entering a month of rather dreary weather.
That will continue in the new year.
And then maybe you'll get a bit of snow, and then it will be windy for a bit. It feels like such a weird time to do it. I find it hard to hang anything emotional on that complete arbitrariness of it.
Do you spend much time reflecting on it, Wes?
I've probably become more reflective in recent years.
I thought you were going to jump into a Disney number there. Do you feel reflective?
How do you feel reflective? Ooh. A minute ago there was a little flute kind of thing playing as you were talking, which was
Wes has the wrong
quite
hat on
fitting.
music.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose I am a bit more reflective than I have been in previous years, but I don't know whether that's necessarily attached with the new year as such.
I love these musical interludes. This is making me so happy. It's so random.
How is that for our voice levels and stuff? Is that
I can hear you guys fine.
No, okay, we just carry on.
perfect?
Yeah, it's all good.
So that means you need to join in with it.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Well, we'll definitely do. We know the words. We'll all be fine. Whatever random song it is.
What are you reflective, Matt?
Yeah, but it's just the time, isn't it? You've got a bit of time to think about what's coming up. And is it reflective or is it planning? Or
Exactly, yeah.
And also got time to chat with the people who's going to be affected by it, and we've got these plans coming in, and how's that going to work? And
I think I suck at the personal planning aspect. I'm all right with work planning because there's a schedule that exists, and I know that stuff's coming up. I'm okay with planning improv stuff and Miss Imp activities. There's going to be shows, there's going to be things. Not good at doing it on a personal level. I still find it very hard to project and see.
What
the
kind of
future.
things would be on the personal level as opposed to...
I don't know, like. I don't know.
Exactly.
I've no idea. I don't know.
stop asking me questions.
But it feels like people have these things. Oh, I want to go and touch
Yeah.
up toucans in South America this year. I want to go and get a new job. I want to.
Touch up toucans.
There's a new Lego toucan figure coming out, and it's all in my
Okay,
head.
so it's Lego.
So
yeah.
you know what? Personal plan, definitely going to get a Lego toucan.
Yeah, all right.
But
But only in the new year, not
yeah,
before
I
then.
don't
Yeah.
think it's available till January the 3rd. I literally can't.
Did you not get the email?
What?
No. Must have been. I can't be on that mailing list. But no, I suppose in the same way as I think about it, I've probably thought, right, I'm going to push this stuff a little bit more next year and focus a bit more on that next year. But yeah, why next year? Why next year?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, it's so much easier
Why
than
not
doing
just
it now,
start?
isn't it? I mean, much better to put it in a future that may never happen than right now when you can actually do the thing and see a noticeable difference. You can forget about the future because by the time you've thought about it a bit, it's already gone.
So it's all a big procrastination, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe it is.
I think you'd be careful with the whole, resolution thing because you're always setting yourself up to fail, aren't you?
Or succeed.
Well, when I said I'm going to do more of this or that in the new year, I wasn't like talking about resolutions as
Just
such.
just
but
generically,
it's the
literally
same thing.
this or that.
No, I was more thinking like, this stuff that I spend that amount of time on, I'm going to spend even more amount of time on that next year, kind of thing. But yeah, I suppose it lends itself well to the idea of resolutions as well, because lots of people do that. We spoke about this last year, actually, although I don't remember the conversation now.
I think we were mostly down on resolutions.
Were we? And
that's
it seems to be what you were just suggesting.
Nick was waiting for the new toucan from Lego to come out at the time.
It's true. There
Just
was
like
one
that.
last
Here
year.
it is.
Yeah,
Here it is.
For the whole of 21.
For the first time this year, Lego toucan.
Man, and also kittens. So there's a bunch of things that I'm looking forward to, but they're not remotely personal or important. I don't know. I guess personally, we'll be hoping to get our house finished and in some form
At some point next year.
one day. Yeah, by next Christmas perhaps, and that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Don't know. I think it's the very concept of planning it and imagining being a different person. I like that. Continuity of self concept. We change constantly, but we never feel like we're a different person unless something really radical's happened.
It's difficult, I think, with you sort of, as we get older and stuff. I was just thinking then about resolutions and New Year and pantomimes and stuff. And it is all the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's like, it's the same pantomime every year, in essence. It's just got a different
the pantomime
name.
that is life, you mean?
Well, I think you're right, though, because as I was saying, when it used to be like along with a seasonal change, it's reinforcing that there is a cycle that keeps going.
Yeah,
A
so
cycle that is
not
sort
just
of
about
the same
change,
every
but
time.
like renewing and rebirth and things like that. Which doesn't necessarily sound like change. It's more like re-energizing, revitalizing.
It's more importantly, it's a reminder that it will be kind of the same.
Yeah, it will.
Life continues, so no matter what's happened, it's going to keep going in much the same form, which maybe is a reminder that really you don't need to go nuts trying to go, I'm going to change everything about myself. Take an arm off and put a leg on instead. These big changes aren't necessarily going to help you a great deal.
Do you think that the new year instills hope for a lot of people? Even if false hope?
Everyone loves a lie, right?
Depends.
Some people seem to really hang on it. I've got some friends who seem to take it very seriously.
It'll be all right in the new year. We'll start again. We'll do this. We'll do that. Things will be different.
Yeah, I wrecked the last year. Next year, I'm going to get it right. I was like,
Yeah.
well, will you? You're probably going to mess it up again.
Damn them and their positivity.
Well, but again, false positivity. How's that helpful?
So until I make those positive changes on January the 1st, I'm just going to keep messing things up throughout the rest of December.
I like that, yeah.
So it's kind of like permission to.
But also,
it'll be all right.
yeah.
I'm gonna tend to it in January.
Well, yeah, and how early do you set that? Yeah, it's August. Well, next year I'll do everything different. You got half a year to waste before you get to that point.
Yeah.
I think it's that loading of expectations, which I always find a bit worrying.
I think the expectations thing is a key word, and given that through some thread or another, we're always trying to think about mental health in amongst all of this, and expectations probably a massive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, set them too high and it's horrible. Set them too low and nothing.
And I suppose that's the reason I mentioned hope as well. Maybe some people feel a bit hopeful as they approach the end of the year about what could be in the new year, but then there's that thing of the expectations and the pressure and everything else.
It's also a good way if the year's been fairly crap.
Exactly,
To
that's
sort
what
of
I mean.
box it off,
To think,
isn't it?
all right, you know what? Yeah, draw a line under it.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
And I think that's going to be a special. Well, will it be especially relevant? Depends how this next few weeks turns out. But
The cycle renews.
yeah, is it going to be more of the same? But a lot of people are maybe thinking that as we move into a new year, that maybe it's going to be a better one than this last one. Overall.
Yes, it'll all be over by Christmas problem, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that war went real well. But having mentioned that you sort of hit on the year cycling back again, I actually find tremendous reassurance in that. I don't think I want massive change. I like the idea of small incremental change. I wouldn't notice, but that life generally improves, and the idea that next year will be, in most respects, a lot like this one. that sense of continuity and consistency, I find that very reassuring. I don't want radical life-altering changes.
Yeah,
unless
lots
they're
of people
brilliant
are.
and very comfortable.
I think lots of people would share that opinion of feeling a bit unsettled by too much change.
Yeah, so the idea of this cycle resetting, that sounds much better to me than I've thought about New Year previously. Yeah, I don't want it to be a new start. I just want it to be a continuing start. I'm not sure if that even makes sense as a phrase, but it's fine. Yeah, everything is okay and will continue to be more or less okay.
And it's gonna be all right next year. Yes, it is, but mostly the same.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
That's perfect.
With just some more Lego and books in it. Yeah, that'll be fine. It is strange, isn't it?
We should do all of our recordings alongside this kind of setting.
We're going to release a soundtrack to go along with our podcast.
Yes, February's episode will take place at a random school play.
Sweet synth will get you through the festive season. It's so odd, isn't it?
Where's your head at, mate?
No, I was just thinking, I mean, I think pretty much what you two said was the right thing. I think it is about planning for me, all the things I want to do next year, pretty much what I wanted to do in the current year.
Yeah, because everything's been on hold.
Yeah, but
so I guess you're thinking from like a work perspective.
I just think about getting used to it and making them. Who knows what the next few weeks are going to be like or the next year, but we're fortunate to be in a very good position, 4 of us at least, and if you're in that, you just gotta, without sounding too positive, make the most of it. It's not.
It's just not the Matt that I know.
No. I've been invaded by something. I mean, I had one of those injections the other week, so
yeah,
tie's good.
But yeah, you can't plan for chaos and carnage. You plan with best intentions, hoping that everything you do will be okay. Otherwise, you can't plan at all.
No.
I think all through the year, look at when we talk about looking forward and anticipating what is going to lie ahead. I think a lot of people, or at least a lot of people I speak to, end up speaking about all of the what ifs, yeah. And so throughout the year, it's what if. But when it approaches New Year, it seems to be a different phrase. It's more about like what could be, or what if.
You've been watching,
and then it fades off in January, and we go back to but what if? What if?
Do you think many people really pin their hopes in mental health on the New Year? I mean, it isn't.
I don't know that there's loads of stuff pinned to it, but I think. Yeah, I think plenty of people will think, things will maybe be all right in the new year, or new start, fresh start.
Yeah, or it's a symbolic point to the future, isn't it? The future is obviously always tomorrow, but this is, having a day that you can go, I don't need to do anything right now, but I know it's going to happen then, and then things will be different. That's
and the new year just seems to be this kind of big chapter end that we all subscribe to, don't we? Because we all share the same calendar.
We celebrate it or commiserate it in precisely the same way.
Yeah.
I find that somewhat fascinating. It doesn't matter if it was really good or if it's really bad, we're still going to have a drink or whatever and go out and have a party. That has the same end result, even if the road to it was completely different. That's so odd.
Yeah,
you're
right.
Do you use it more as a way of looking back than looking forwards,
Well, that's why I asked earlier, do people reflect on the years at that point, It's a natural point to look back and then to look forward, I guess. But what do we do? What do we all do? I don't know.
Yeah, you could do a compare and contrast, can you? You do these things happen. This is what I would rather happen next year, or rather than because you can't.
Do you do that at all, mate?
No, I don't, because I'm really bad at looking at the past or the future. I'm here right now, and I'm not thinking more than about 10 seconds ahead.
Wow.
But I think
lends itself well to improvising, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess so. Yeah, it's convenient. There's no attempt to plan or decide what's happening until it's happening. But that's not great for the people that you live with and other people who want to make plans. Yeah, I recognise that's not helpful for others. Yeah, so what are you doing next month? I don't know. I'm free. But I need you to be in a place. Oh, cool. Make a plan. Maybe I'll be there. Who knows?
So you're not that fussed around New Year at all then, really?
No.
Yeah.
My dream New Year is staying in and definitively going to bed before midnight.
Wow.
That's great. I like that, partly because it's going to bed early, which is a great plan in general. But I like the faint, trivial rebellion against, let's go and have a massive party and do a thing.
The midnight thing for me is garbage. I'm not a big fan of
We always
that.
get the timings wrong anyway. I can hear people cheering down the street before we start cheering, and I think, well, something's gone wrong
I'm
there.
still on summertime, it doesn't ever go as well.
You run out of the street and just shout out and not to keep it down.
Stop it.
Shut up! I'm waiting for the
Retract
bells to go.
fireworks. I think for me, like, the worst of New Year has always ended up being at someone's house that's miles away, watching the fireworks in London on television. And then you're like, cool, now it's midnight, can we go home? And then there's no way to get home because there's no public transport, there's no taxis available, so you're just walking home. I've seen so many just New Year's Day mornings walking home in the cold from somewhere.
Into the desolation of New Year's Eve with the
I don't want
cans.
to do it anymore. Just stay home and just play with the cat and then go to sleep.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we're talking about what New Year's is for a lot of people and this idea of, well, we could look back and then reflect and learn and then make plans looking forward and all that kind of stuff. But in theory, we could do that each day, couldn't we? Let me look at my day and let me take some new learning into tomorrow. But
That sounds horribly challenging.
does it? Well, for you, yeah.
Well, I think it would be for everybody. So today, what went well? Tomorrow, what will we do? That sounds exhausting. It sounds like what some kind of pro-positivity affirmation coach would do.
It does. It
What did you
definitely
do
does.
today? Yeah. What are you going to do
It could
tomorrow?
even just be like a...
I think I do that naturally, though.
Do you?
Yeah, not in that way that Nick's talking
Yeah,
about.
you're not like getting a
Keep my
father
clothes
facts
on,
out
is it?
and
No,
stuff.
not with the enthusiasm. No, that's good.
But there's some kind of thought given to what that day has been like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just called reflection, isn't it? It's not.
Is it? Is that what it is?
I just go, right, well, that's over. Cool. Onwards.
You should definitely be one of those coaches. Hi, welcome. Are you thinking about your life? Don't.
It's all the same anyway.
How was yesterday? No one cares.
I want to improve. On what? Don't think about it. You can't improve on that.
Yeah, you can't improve on nothing.
Well, actually, to be fair, quite a lot of philosophy does centre around just living in the moment, doesn't it?
It's true, yeah.
And that being a helpful thing.
A lot of it
You're
boils down to nihilism, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, there's no purpose to things around you, so why either do or not do?
Well, I wasn't going to go that far. Just kind of saying, just live the now.
I know I have a really bleak New
Yeah.
year where I just try and annihilate existence around me in my mind. I shall start as a new soul.
You
again.
really wanted me to go to a New Year's Eve party with you. I think it'd be amazing.
Oh, you'd hate going to the New Year's Eve fight with me.
Yeah. I'll even bring some fireworks or something, or some.
My cats hate fireworks. See, I want silent fireworks.
We could do that. Indoor fireworks. Are they
I do
silent?
like that. I mean, isn't that just a fire or an explosive?
Silent fireworks.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's just that no one sells them because
They're
they're
just
all dicks.
the visual element.
Yeah.
So you just like all of the...
Yeah, but
I can't even... I was going to do an impression of it and go... But
I mean,
it wouldn't even be
perfect.
that,
That's
would
exactly what it sounds like. What part of fireworks do you like? Is it the fancy light show in the sky, or is it sounding like you're in Beirut?
Well, when you describe it like that...
Because that's what it feels like around where we live, from, I don't know, September to about April.
Yeah, but you're in Nottingham, aren't you, to be fair?
That's true, yeah. And they just sell explosives in shops. And you can use them whenever you like, which absolutely baffles me. It's tricky, isn't it? What are you doing for New Year then?
Well, having a young one in the house, we'll probably just be in the house. Christmas Day will be like a simple affair. Just us in the house, one or two visitors, depending on what the situation is. So yeah, sticking the TV on and watching the fireworks, probably.
I hope you'll be forcing your very young daughter to stay up till midnight just to get the experience.
Yeah.
So I was thinking then, when you said what you're doing, so we're thinking about going to the local pub for a New Year's Eve night, which sounds fine actually, and it'd be a good laugh. But it is going to be that thing at midnight, isn't it, where strangers come over and are very
hope.
positive, and I'm not sure that's me, is it really?
Oh, you don't want to randomly kiss a stranger in a pub at midnight.
I would quite happily wish.
Whereas
the
you
best
probably
to
spent your 20s
strangers.
trying to do that,
Now it's too late to recapture that youthful vibe.
How far does this kissing of strangers have to go?
Oh, probably quite a long way. Yeah, I don't never understood the base system because it's about baseball, but a number of those.
You're not allowed to snog, are you?
It's probably
That was
discouraged.
the
currently.
latest government advice, not to
Who
snog.
knows?
Yeah.
I don't know what that
But
is.
I was just thinking then it'd be that point when they're, when the clock strikes and everyone's wishing everyone a good new year, which I guess is fine.
I have mixed feelings about it, I suppose, because on the one hand, it's just really nice to just allow yourself to be pulled into that spirit of, hey, it's Christmas and it's New Year and yeah, and all of that. So on the one hand, I really like that. But on the other, I probably have over the years had these little bits of thoughts creeping in of, yeah, but it's just going to be really busy and yeah, I'd rather not, and it is just going to be the same.
I'm so
all
glad
that
to
kind
brought
of stuff.
everyone to this point together.
So maybe, maybe that's where a lot of people just end up eventually. I don't know.
But maybe that sense of renewal and change is something that feels more sensible. The younger you are, and the more it feels like the world is truly plastic, and you can change in it, and the world will change around.
So there's
you.
more
The
optimism.
world is mostly plastic these days, to be fair.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it's inside our baby whales, and but the older you are, the more you've had of years that have been like, okay, cool. What I'm seeing now is that the thread of life is largely the same, and there are bumps in the way, and big events happen, good and bad. But overall, what we see is a nice continuity, and so it makes less sense to make a huge deal out of it.
Maybe it's not as deep as that. Maybe you just get grumpy the longer that you live.
I can see that in your eyes.
Maybe we should all make a resolution that this New Year's Eve, we should approach it positively.
Yeah, try and be
And
optimistic.
if someone says Happy New Year to you who you've never met before, you don't punch them in the face.
Well, that's going to be tough.
I would never punch someone in the face.
No, but maybe you say
For saying
Happy
Happy
New Year
New
to
Year.
you as well.
Yeah, no, I would do that. I would
Would
do
you?
that. Yeah, I would.
Would you do that,
Absolutely.
Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done that in the
Would
past.
you?
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure I've done that in the
responded-
past.
I'm sure I've done it at one point.
I'm sure I've responded positively, some being positive towards me, and not just said you knew it would be the same as the old one. It'll suck.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that.
You never crushed someone and got into a big speech about how life is futile and all
Oh
that
no, I've
kind of
definitely
stuff.
done
Or gone,
that. I've definitely done that, but it won't have been a short, flippant.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
it would have been a long, considered, painful one.
There's that other thing, isn't there, of how long you say Happy New Year for?
That's a good
Or the first time that I've seen you it's February now. Do I still say Happy New Year? I guess not. There's all
I
that
like
kind
that,
of
'cause
thing.
You're right. It clearly has some kind of a half-life, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, and
And
that's,
so you get to that point where it's starting to fade off, but then
like, has
someone
anything
says it and you
changed?
think,
So I
well,
guess
that's
we shouldn't
weird.
say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
And I always think you should stop saying it by the time you get used to writing the new year that it is down on a piece of paper.
Oh,
like
That's been
maybe a
long
whole
enough.
year then. I never used to it.
I don't know. I'm working on books for end of 2022. I've been writing 2022 for a while now. I'm very confused. I think that doesn't help.
Oh,
either,
that's
knowing
weird.
when
So you're
everything
writing
is.
ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, we're moving on to 2023 books soon.
Oh,
so,
wow, yeah.
Yeah, I'm always
So you're planning further ahead than the rest of us.
yes.
Ah,
At the same time, you don't do it on a personal
yeah, no, it's
level.
really confusing.
Yeah.
Well, but I think it contributes to the whole, I don't know, disassociation about when anything is. Because I'm doing covers for fall 22, but I'm preparing books that go to print now that will be out in February.
Did you just say fall?
Huh?
Did you just say
I
fall
did.
20?
Sorry,
Come
we,
on now.
We worked to American stuff. It's a
Okay.
primary thing.
Yeah. For those that are listening, you're not just an improviser, you work in publishing. Just
It's
to-
true.
Yeah.
Super fancy.
Yeah.
And thus we use super fancy cosmopolitan terms like fall instead of autumn. Presumably because leaves fall. I don't actually know why they call it fall.
I guess that's what that's about. That's a whole other episode.
Why don't they just call summer hot time?
much easier.
They should just call New Year same old shit.
That would be a great way to name the seasons. I don't know, but yeah. Basically, I can't do the writing the year thing because I don't ever write anything by hand.
All
either.
right. That wouldn't work for you then.
I am now tentatively looking forward to the idea of New Year.
Yeah?
As a
What?
consequence of this.
Really?
That's
Why?
good.
What's happened?
I think partly because I've had a chance to moan about it. Which
yeah?
is, which is
Just
really
get that off your
helpful.
chest.
Yeah, and I've concluded that there's nothing that I need to look forward to about it. Therefore, let's erase the expectations that I feel that other people have for them, because I'm not responsible for other people's expectations.
That's true. So
I can't
what?
work
Yeah.
with
So I know where I'm at with it. I've had a little moan. I don't need to spoil it for other people.
I'm not with that.
Oh, I thought this was like the Grinch had his heart warmed, and all that kind of thing.
He's
but
still the Grinch, isn't he?
yeah,
He's still going to turn back into.
you think? After a
Dr.
few more
Banner
years of
afterwards, or
being
whatever it is
beaten
that he
down,
does.
he's just going to go back to it. Okay.
The Grinch is Hulk, right?
Baby brother.
The cousins.
His
Yeah.
superpowers being miserable about Christmas.
I feel like we're drawing towards the kind of final bit of this episode, really, but which might be a nice time because all of the cast seem to be gathering on the stage.
Assembling, aren't they?
They're assembling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's happening. They're getting ready for something.
Probably a fight.
Maybe.
That's what they do in Panto. It's like a Royal Rumble.
There's only one way to find out.
Interesting. It's very exciting.
They're behind you, Nick.
I know. I'm trying not to look. And I
Let's.
said earlier that I would punch you in the arm for a Panto game.
Yes.
Do you know what? Let's do one planning thing that we can do then.
Yeah,
Looking
okay.
forward.
So like what we're taking from this episode or what we're going to take?
No, what we're going to talk about in the next podcast.
Oh, I
the
see.
first one of January.
So we're planning ahead. Oh,
Nick could go first, couldn't he?
yeah.
I mean, that's really unfair because, as you know, I don't. So things that I would like to talk about next year.
Yeah.
Well, that's things we put on the spot about.
Resolutions that have gone wrong.
What the future-
He's not making any resolutions. Come on.
Why didn't you not do what you didn't say that you were
Yeah.
going to not do? Yes, that kind of thing.
All those things that I never said I would do, well, I've not done them.
I would like to talk next year about regret. I think at some point about regret for things that we haven't done on those rare occasions we remember them.
And that might not even be related to New Year's resolutions.
It'll be 100%
just
related to it, but it could be more general.
just regret in general, I
Yeah,
think,
I
is
think so.
actually a really good topic.
And what it does to you, because it hangs on you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's something you can't do anything about.
Sometimes on this podcast we have a pressure to try and find what is topical or timely to the year and all of that. And maybe it doesn't always have to be that way. No. Regret is a
That's
great
an incredibly
topic.
bleak January episode on regret. That
Yeah.
sounds perfect to me.
No, do you know, I think that's a great idea. It crosses my mind more often than I probably admit to myself, actually. I always used to go around thinking, I've got no regrets. But actually, I have.
No regrets. Got it tattooed across your chest, spelled
No
wrong.
regrets. Isn't there a song in that?
Just around his eye. Beautiful. Sit in the mirror and have to try and read it every time.
Because lots of people do say, oh, I don't really regret things because they all contribute to where I'm at now and who I am and stuff like that. And yeah, that's true, but is it really true that people don't regret things?
Yeah, I can't believe anyone means that sincerely. That sounds like the sort of thing you say to people.
Are we just really pessimistic?
I
A lot
think-
of us just sat here picking at stuff.
I had a
and-
regret yesterday, which I've...
Okay, what was it?
Yeah, just with my eldest, because he's obviously now wanting to get... if we were talking about atheism and such like, have the same sort of... and he said, no, it'd just be funny, but, you know, just...
Oh, cool. We found the bit that we're going to edit out of the episode. Sweet.
That was dark.
But it's been on my mind. And you started talking about regrets.
So what did you regret? You regretted that reaction?
I just think, you know,
bit? Yeah,
maybe I could have just said...
Which bit?
yeah, you
Oh,
know.
okay. I was wondering which part of that was a regret.
No, well, maybe I could, you know...
Cool.
I think regret would be a good topic. I'm in agreement that that's what we should pick up in January.
Anything else you'd like to talk about next year?
Nope.
Nope. To be honest, I don't think that far
Easter.
ahead.
We should definitely do a special Easter
Yeah.
episode. shouldn't we?
Okay. What would we focus on there?
No, it's just going to
Eggs
be
and
Matt raging
rabbits.
about being an atheist. Cool.
Bunny
There's
rabbits.
something about identity in that, actually. Maybe identity would be a good topic.
I think so.
It's a nice all-encompassing topic that could take off many
Yeah.
directions.
I guess the other thing as well, and you know, maybe there's that thing about what you're putting on your children as well, isn't it? That would quite, you know, what impression
Yeah.
you leave, and
Oh, well, that's interesting.
In fact, if anyone listening has any suggestions of topics, they could
help.
shoot us and let us know. And the socials, the email, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, please do. All that's available.
Do we have a
wherever you-
podcast email?
Probably.
Well, no, we've got. Well, we got to the page, haven't we? We've got hello@mattmcguinness.co.uk.
Yeah, so you could
You can
email
also
there,
mess- you can
hello
message
at
us directly
mattmcguinness.co.uk, or you could just comment on the...
Our podcast page has
Yeah,
has links.
We
to
Are
it.
What We Overcome, the podcast on the socials. Yeah.
Or you could do the other thing this time of year. You write it on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
and then you put it in a fire, don't you?
You just burn it
And
and
it
let go
burns
of
it,
it.
and then
It'll
Santa
find its way
finds
to
it,
us.
and then
Yeah.
we could-
That's not how letters to Santa work, man. You got to post.
No,
them,
no,
man.
they're
You
not
got-
letters
you
to
gotta
Santa.
post
They're
them.
just New Year's affirmations. That
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because that's unreal to expect him to find the letter if you burn it. But him coming down the chimney to give you a present is perfectly
Oh, yeah.
feasible.
Here comes Matt pissing on another dream.
I wasn't arguing with that. I was talking about the viability of the postal system, which I think, despite being prioritised, is not bad.
Well, on that note, everybody,
Have a good New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Exhausted with some great
If you've been affected by anything that we've talked about tonight, that's cool. We were kind of hoping you would be. If you haven't been affected by anything tonight, then that's great too. You're probably fine. Of course, if you say you're fine, there's a good chance you aren't. So you might also have been affected. And if you've been affected before, you probably will be again. Please talk to someone. It can get better, and together we can survive. We are what we overcome.
This poor little boy, grounded by the sun, Baylor by his side for some big stride.